Hi, I'm here to talk about Mr. Krabs from the SpongeBob SquarePants franchise. Uh, for a long time, I thought that Mr. Krabs was the funniest character in SpongeBob. There's a lot of great comedy that's come from Mr. Krabs' love of money, how dedicated he is to it. Um, when I think of greedy characters that are obsessed with money, it's very easy to think of Mr. Krabs and also think of a lot of very villainous characters. And there are times where Mr. Krabs can come across a bit villainous. There are also episodes where he can come across as likable or just a very comedic, petty character. But there are times where Mr. Krabs can seem like the big villain of the show. In a lot of early episodes, Mr. Krabs, uh, greedy character, but charming character, a character that can get along with SpongeBob to a certain degree and be a lot of fun to have around and have some petty moments, but overall be likable. As the seasons went on, Mr. Krabs started seeming more on the villainous side than before, which is interesting because a lot of Plankton's sympathetic qualities were explored, but a lot of Mr. Krabs' bad qualities were explored, and the rivalry felt more complicated, where it didn't really feel like a hero versus villain sort of dynamic anymore. It felt like the villainous but still tragic Plankton versus the successful but greedy and often misguided Mr. Krabs, where there's actually some pretty interesting nuance to their rivalry. Because it could have been a simple thing where Mr. Krabs could be the big hero and Plankton the big villain, but it feels like Mr. Krabs isn't super heroic, and Plankton at times can be very villainous, but other times can feel a little bit more likable than Mr. Krabs, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff with that. So Mr. Krabs could come across as an unlikable character, and there are times where he feels so strict to Squidward and point him through so much that Mr. Krabs could feel a little bit too much on the antagonistic side, but there are a lot of interesting stuff that come from Mr. Krabs's more morally ambiguous side, and it's an interesting thing to explore. And Mr. Krabs remains very consistently funny, where I don't feel fully sure I can rely on Mr. Krabs to be a likable character, but when it comes to the jokes, Mr. Krabs feels pretty reliable when it comes to that. I feel like for comedy, Patrick and Mr. Krabs tend to be some of the more reliable characters for moments that get me to laugh. So, Mr. Krabs, in my opinion, is a really good character and a really interesting character. I think that really helps him a lot. He's a very interesting character to think about because in some ways he could feel like one of the heroes, but in other ways he could feel like one of the villains, and other times he can feel like just a very funny character. There's lots of really interesting stuff to him, so I really do like the character. Mr. Krabs has been one of my favorite SpongeBob characters for a long time.